know a lot about setbacks. I know a lot about challenges. I know a lot about roadblocks, and I know how those can beat us down and kind of keep us from getting to those next levels and those next steps. But again, I think what it is that we are feeding ourselves in that challenge and that problem is going to be the determining factor in how it is that we get through those challenges, right?
Woo! What's up? That was so funny. I was like, I need like Price is Right. Like, come on down. We cannot do this without our sponsors. This is self-funded. This is volunteer funded. And we cannot do this with our sponsors. UC has been an incredible partner from day one. Dr. Kelly is not in here. I haven't seen him yet. Hopefully he'll be here a little later. We want to welcome them. But so with them being able to allow us to use this beautiful space. Our other sponsors are Seven Hills Technology, which is another fantastic AI and software development firm. And then Big Kitty Labs. Big Kitty Labs is out of Columbus, but they also serve Cincinnati as well, another fantastic technology firm. Analysis Express, man, if you want your data clean, Sabrata is the band. Check him out, talk with him. Tracy Ruberg from the Circuit is here today. She's going to share a little about some really cool things. Anyone interested in trying to get something funded up to about $100,000 in an AI use case? Anyone? See Tracy. That's what she's doing. So Tracy, raise your hand. There she is. I was like, I know you're here. I saw you. All right, awesome. And so making sure that we understand. So a round of applause for all of our sponsors to make this possible. All right, I always love this part of understanding who's here, right? So AI curious, right? Like, hey, just trying to figure this stuff out, right? Good. All right, and AI users, right? We're just using AI. That's everyone. So that's everyone. AI builders, where are the AI builders? Yes, AI builders, keep your hand up. Everyone else, these are your new best friends, right? Make friends with these people. They're incredible. So, and what about our first time? Is this your first time here? Oh, yay! Welcome. Yeah, you are in good hands. Please, if there's a way that you want to get plugged in, or if you're trying to hunt something down, solve a problem, you're not sure who to connect with, grab Helen and I, and we will introduce you to someone today. Don't feel like you're just kind of hanging out. You're like, I don't know anyone. I've got you. So we've got you. We're going to make sure and get you connected to this amazing community. So impact, if you'll pull out your phones, we always want to know the impact this group is, right? This has been going on. It'll be a year in October, which is really weird to say that this has been going on. And so every single month we have over 150 people that we serve, and we want to know how we can best serve you. And so if you could just do a really quick, like, hey, what's the impact and value you're gaining with us? Now, obviously, you're new here. Don't worry about it. We promise one of these things will be in next month when you're here in our session in August. So if you'll just fill that out for us, that'll be super helpful to us. And we always welcome feedback. Every single month, we always try to keep upping the game and switching it up. I love it. Look at that. Learning something new. 82%. That's awesome. I always want to know what the something else is. Someone actually did say they got a date in this room. Like, wait a minute, this is not that kind of meeting. Oh. Awesome, I love this. Found a business partner, a referral partner, solved some problems, gained a new client. I do know for a fact people have gotten jobs and interviews in this room. So that is absolutely happening. And if you are someone that is in the job seeker market, again, meet with Helen and I. We will make sure you get dialed in because this community is really, really incredible. All right, cool. Thank you so much for playing. I appreciate that. Really helps us.
One question.
Yeah.
There's people in the room who are looking for jobs, and I know that there are people in the room hiring for jobs. So if you are hiring, raise your hand.
Michelle, John, Monica, and Pete.
Okay, and for 5 in the back. So 5 total. If you're looking for a job, raise your hands. Okay, awesome. So the people who raised your hands, you can connect afterwards. We're not doing a full rundown of what everyone's looking for, but I know there's sales, there's developers needed. So yes, pay attention to who's raising their hands, because this is all about connecting with one another.
All right, we have a really, really special treat for you today. John and his team introduced Dave to Helen and I and the whole CincyAI week, the host committee that we were honored to be a part of. And once John and I connected and we talked to Dave, and I was like, Dave, will you do this at CincyAI, our AI for Humans? And it just is one of those stories that we're like, we have to support him. So I'm not going to steal any of the thunder, but Dave, if you could come up and share your amazing story. Everyone welcome David to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, this is awesome. Really, thank you guys very much for having me. So I am I'm a Team USA paratriathlete. Can't really tell. I'm a below knee amputee. I also race an Ironman 70.3 triathlons, and in a few weeks, I'm headed to Norway to compete in the Norseman Triathlon, which is said to be the hardest triathlon in the world. My goal is to be the first below knee amputee to fully complete this challenge. I'm also signing up to do, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days challenge. I'm going to be raising money for a foundation, the Andre Bocelli Foundation, in 2026. So I start that challenge in January. All that to say, I don't really have a whole heck of a lot of time with you guys today. I'd love for you guys to check out my website, try and post that as well, kind of share a little bit about my journey. But ultimately, what I want to share is I want you guys all to think for a second. Ultimately, we're all going through a challenge, right? We all have a roadblock we're hitting, whether it be in our personal or in our professional lives, something that's challenging us right now. I want you to think about that, whatever that is. So whatever that is, I want you to think about what you're feeding that challenge, what you're feeding that obstacle. Are we feeding it, strength and perseverance? Or are we feeding it something that's holding us back and keeping us from reaching that next level? Ultimately, I've been through my challenge for about it took me about 10 years to start walking again. And I'll love to share my journey with you guys and how I got here and became an amputee. But I know a lot about setbacks. I know a lot about challenges. I know a lot about roadblocks, and I know how those can beat us down and kind of keep us from getting to those next levels and those next steps. But again, I think what it is that we are feeding ourselves in that challenge and that problem is going to be the determining factor in how it is that we get through those challenges, right? So ultimately, through my journey, I understood that if I could just not be negative, right? If I could look at the problem that I was going through and that 30,000 foot goal that I had, and if I could just feed it as much strength and love and gratitude as I could, then that was going to be the fuel that I needed to help me moving forward, right? But I also knew that I couldn't be positive all the time either, right? People say just be positive, just be positive, just be positive. But that's not realistic either. So I started understanding that if I could practice the art of neutrality, just letting a situation be what it is. I don't have to assign it a positive. I don't have to assign it a negative. I could just be what it is. I could let it be what it is, and I could feed it love, grace, and gratitude, and just focus on moving forward. And ultimately, that was equally as strong as is equally as fueling, I guess, as being positive was, right? Like if I could just not be negative. So again, I want you to think about that challenge that you're going through, that problem that you have, bring that to the front of your mind. And again, what are we feeding that thing? Are we feeding it something that is holding us back? I really, really want to encourage you guys just to focus on what that is and just feed it strength and love and positivity and gratitude and just all the positive things, because that really is going to be the determining factor. I don't know if you guys have heard the story of the 2 wolves or not. It's a beautiful story that really articulates what it is that I'm saying in terms of feeding what it is that we want to grow and feeding positivity. There's a story about a grandpa. It's a Native American story where a son or a grandchild is sitting with his grandpa, and the grandpa is sharing stories and life lessons. And he looks at the grandson and says, "Did you know within you lives 2 wolves? One of the wolves, it represents pain, it represents anger, it represents resentment. And the other wolf, it represents love and grace and gratitude and perseverance. And both these wolves, they're within you and they're within everybody, and they're fighting this battle." And all of a sudden, the kid looks at the grandpa and says, "Well, which one's going to win?" And the grandpa says, "The one that you feed," right? So it's the one that we feed. that strength, that love, that perseverance, and that gratitude is ultimately, in my opinion, going to be the determining factor in shaping the outcome of what it is and how we get through those challenges and those problems. So again, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of time with you guys here today. I'd love to chat with you individually. Please feel free to come up and pick my brain a little bit more. I just got done swimming. Like I said, I'm training for this insane race right now, so I probably smell like a pool. But yeah, please just feel free to ask anything. I'm an open book, and I'm here for you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great time. Kendra, thank you so much for having me. John, you're awesome. Yeah, really excited to learn more about this community and grow with you guys. So thank you very much for your time.
We're all about humans, right? That couldn't be more human story. I don't know about anyone else in here that could do all of that in 7 continents. I always say if I'm running, you need to run because I'm running from something. Like, I don't run. All right, so the flow, especially for the new ones that haven't, participated, is we're going to do a very mini version of QuickByte Rounds because we actually have demos for you. Remember I said we're always mixing it up? And it was back to your all's feedback. You're like, hey, some of the things you're talking about, I would love to actually witness it. Can you show it to us? So we have a couple of QuickByte rounds, just a handful, and then we're going to go into demo. So please give us a little grace as we switch out laptops, because as we all know with technology, they don't play well. And then we're going to do Q&A and shout outs. And Q&A is just asking any of the presenters, the room, the community, any questions. And then shout outs was by our friend Jeff. I can't see, I don't think he's here yet. Jeff just kind of started that one day. He stood up and said, hey, I just got to shout out someone in this room that helped me solve a problem this week. And then group photo. This is the one that's like herding cats. And so once we're at this point, Helen and I will be like, all right, to the wall. And so what we want to do is we want to capture this moment. And so when we're going to do that group photo, instead of getting up and chatting with your neighbor, we just need you to go to the wall. We'll do a very quick photo, and then you can do all the collaboration and networking you want after that. You guys good with that? All right, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. And again, getting plugged in. What that means is grab Helen and I. If there's a question you have, a community member you're trying to connect with, a problem you're trying to solve, just wanting to get plugged into this amazing AI community that we have, just grab one of us and we will help figure that out with you. All right, with that, I'm going to hand it over to my awesome co-host, Helen.
And if this works, I'm going to have my clone do the sequence. So hopefully it will work.
Hello and welcome to July's CincyAI Meetup. It's my honor to be here, especially because I am not human. I'm an ethically created AI clone of Helen Todd, who is the first resident of Cincinnati to clone herself with a hyper-realistic avatar. She's one of your co-hosts today alongside Kendra Ramirez. CincyAI is an important node in the region's AI ecosystem alongside the University of Cincinnati and its incredible digital futures building, the Cincinnati AI Catalyst Consortium, and all of you who are here today. We all share a vision for AI to uplift the entire region, rooted in human-centered, responsible AI, where the rising tide lifts all ships. Now, for why you've gathered here at the amazing UC Digital Futures Building. CincyAI is the largest AI meetup in the region. Whether this is your first time attending or your 10th, welcome. Thank you for being part of this dynamic community where the whole is not just greater, but exponential in its impact. With that, I'll let my human counterpart take the mic. Enjoy.
Yeah, you can clap. So this is Helen 2.0, my clone. And if there's time during our demo section, I'll actually do a demo of how easy it is to make videos using clones. But she kind of ran over this section for us. So we've got a packed schedule today, so we're going to keep going. But I will say, Pete, you're kicked off the island. I will say this is just, everyone here is part of a big ecosystem. We just had CincyAI Week with our community partners. Carl's going to share about that in a little bit. They've already announced a Columbus AI Week, so there's so much momentum and excitement happening in the region. And Dr. Kelly Cohen isn't here, but he's our organizing partner, and we're really grounded in pushing responsible AI, which embraces all of these: privacy and security, transparency, fairness and equity, robustness, accountability, sustainability. And we're putting a stake in the ground that this is Cincinnati is really leading the charge in this. And one very cool thing, this came from people tagging on LinkedIn, that Michael Fry, who's the director for the Center for Business Analytics here at UC, actually got quoted in the latest issue of Time magazine related to AI. So that's really great as we see Cincinnati getting the deserved recognition that we need. And Deba, who's here, Deba, raise your hand. She is going to start posting into our LinkedIn group any press opportunities that are looking for experts to weigh in on. So anyone who's like an AI expert or maybe AI curious, if they're looking for that type of quote, check out our LinkedIn page as those deals come up so that we can keep spreading the Cincinnati AI expertise for opportunities that arise. And of course, if you want, I haven't bought the issue yet, but I'm going to go to the store and get the magazine. I want to spend just a few minutes going over our newsletter. We are Big Kitty Labs, one of our sponsors, is working with us to build out a website, which we're very excited about. Until then, almost every information that you need about CincyAI is in our newsletter. I get a lot of questions that are in the newsletter, so I just wanted to show you quickly what's in here. We're going to talk about the NKU Biz Access Hub. This is this Thursday, July 11th. Dawn is here. Dawn, where are you at? Raise your hand. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to her. But we have so many great events in the region. They're all giving us discounts for our CincyAI members, which is a great benefit for being here. All of what we're going to show you today, take photos, but know that they're going to come into the newsletter too. Our great group photos. The signups for our meetups are all in here. They sell out fast, so we open up about once a month. For our upcoming trainers, that's the 30-minute slot before we start. That's in here too. We've got Black Tech Week. We've got Midwest Con. The coupon code will be in the next one and on the slides. I took it out for this one. We are volunteer-based. Our sponsors cover some of the costs, but there's still a gap. So if you find this valuable, feel free to give us donations. That helps the self-funding on that front. And then what else is in here? Sign up for Kendra and I's newsletter. Even though we do all of the roundup of events, Kendra's website actually has the most comprehensive roundup of AI events in the region. So that's linked into here too. Until we have the website, there's a directory and a link to our LinkedIn group if you want to find that. These meetings are photographed and videotaped, so if you miss something, you can go back to that. And feel free to download the photos and spread them on social media and just use the hashtag CincyAI. UC is our partner, and we do updates there. And then all of the news and events that are happening and the discount codes are all under the community news and updates. And if there's something in here that you think that would add value, feel free to share on the LinkedIn group or email us directly. But a lot of the resources from previous presentations are all in here, and really great information. My podcast, you're actually going to have a special video from Kathy McPhillips from the Marketing AI Institute later today, and she's one of my later episodes. And then another one of our members, James Grote, does video AI. So if you have AI art projects that you want to share with the community, send those our way too. And then all of the dates. So if you have any questions, the newsletter is a great spot for that. Okay, and we have a lot going on today. So we're going to go through some of these quickly. This would be a slide that you want to screenshot or take a photo or look to our newsletter because you have all the coupons. I mentioned July 11th, that's this Thursday. There's still a few seats open for the NKU Biz Access AI Bootcamp. I didn't know AI could do this. Kendra is one of the main coaches or trainers, and then there's Greg, I, and Preshka, who's here somewhere. We're all doing coaching. So if you want to actually do prompts and spend all day with your computer open, being supported, I think Chris Brock is going to be there too. So we have a lot of people. Oh, yes, we have a lot of people here. Raise your hand if you're already going to the NK bootcamp as a trainer. Okay, and then as an attendee. Okay, no attendees. If you want one-on-one hands-on coaching, this is a great event. Then Black Tech Week, which I'm so excited about. Last year they had Issa Rae as a guest, and you announced the big guest this year. Who's the big keynote this year? Ava, say it again. Ava Newbury. I saw that posted, and she's a TV producer. TV producer, made movies. They do fantastic content. I'm actually doing a presentation at Black Tech Week, and you can get 25% off with this coupon code. Then we have a nonprofit impact accelerator. What is this? Panel for musicians for health at Kenwood. Then Midwest Con. I don't know if Rob is here, but that's another great event in the fall. And then MayCon, which you'll hear more about, is in September in Cleveland. Then we have the Best in Tech Awards, September 12th, Columbus AI Week. So there's so much going on that we'll keep plugging you guys in for, keep getting you coupon codes to attend. So when I say we're part of the Vibrant ecosystem, this is part of the Vibrant ecosystem we're part of. And I mentioned a message from Kathy McPhillips. She was going to come today, but she, like some people I've heard, got COVID. So she's sending us a video message instead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me just a few minutes of your time. My name is Kathy McPhillips. I am the Chief Growth Officer here at the Marketing Artificial Intelligence Institute. We are a company based in Cleveland, Ohio, and I just want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about the Marketing AI Institute. We started in 2016, and so 8 years ago, the company started off as a blog, and now we are a media, event, and education company. So we have some paid programs in our education. We've got Scaling AI, we've got Piloting AI, we've got a membership that you can see under education. We have events. We've got our big MayCon conference coming up in September here in Cleveland, which I'm super excited about. We've had 300 the past few years, 700 last year, and we are trending toward 1,500 this year, which I'm really, really excited about. And I love to see Ohioans and our neighboring communities there as well. So I would love to see you. But really, I want to talk to you about all the free things we have on our website that you could hopefully take advantage of. We have things like blueprints. Our AI for CMOs is our leading blueprint. We do have some others like AI in advertising, AI in B2B marketing, AI in personalization. So click in here and you can find some free resources. We've got a blog that, every week we're in there posting some new blog content. We've got an amazing, amazing community on Slack. We just surpassed 7,000 members. And every day we're in there talking. We're talking about AI tools, AI tech, AI news, commiserating on things we're trying to figure out, trying to find partners, trying to find tech, trying to find advice, or just, getting to know each other. It's been really great for this group to get to know each other because a lot of folks in the group are coming to Cleveland in September for the big event. But really, it's just a safe place for people to say, like, I'm learning about AI. Who wants to help me on this journey? And it's a lot of knowledge sharing and fun. Our Intro to AI class is a class that Paul and I do once a month. Paul is our CEO. And once a month, where Paul is talking about what is AI? Why do business leaders and marketers need to care? How can I get started? How can I pilot programs? What are some use cases for me? So for 35 minutes, Paul talks, and the other 30 minutes, he and I take the audience questions, which is my favorite part. The questions are always so unique and different, and every single time we do it, it's been great. So number 40 is coming up July 18th. Our newsletter. We have a weekly newsletter on Tuesdays that a lot of it is the stories that are covered in the podcast, which I'll get to in a second. And a lot of it is things we couldn't cover in the podcast. There is so much AI news happening right now. And it's been really great to have the podcast to help me synthesize, like, why do I need to know all this stuff? There's so much going on. How can I do my job and keep up on AI? So the podcast and the newsletter have been huge, huge helps to me. The podcast. It used to be called the Marketing AI Show. It is now the Artificial Intelligence Show because a lot of the things that Paul and Mike talk about extend well beyond marketing, but are still in the business realm. So we did change the name, but we are focused on reaching marketers and business leaders, breaking down stories on why certain AI stories matter, what they need to pay attention to, why it matters to their businesses, why they should be paying attention, etc. So it is how I spend my Tuesday mornings. I go for my Tuesday morning walk and listen to the podcast and feel like pretty good that I'm caught up on all the AI news, or as much as I could, that week. State of Marketing AI. We've got an annual research report, which actually is launching in just a few weeks. If you are looking for some information when you're going to your leadership about AI trends, AI benchmarks, why you should be using something, where you are in relation to the rest of the industry, it's a great tool. We've got a webinar series that happens on a regular basis. And then, like I said, there are some paid things. Education, Paul and Mike wrote a book. Paul and Mike and I are out speaking quite frequently. And then events, we have some free industry summits. Writer Summit, B2B Marketers, Agencies is coming up this fall. And our flagship event is MakeCon, our Marketing AI Conference, taking place September 10th through the 12th here in Cleveland, Ohio. And there's a lot of information on here about who the speakers are, their topics, some great people. I'm super excited about it. Mike Walsh from Tomorrow, he wrote a book called The Algorithmic Leader, which is one of the reasons that Paul is actually was interested in artificial intelligence, was because he was reading some of the things that Mike and many others had written. So if you want more information about MakeCon, let me know. I'd love to hook you up with a discount and get some more Ohioans up here. So thank you so much for your time. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there in person. COVID still stinks, and I'm just not out of the woods yet, and I don't want to come to a room full of people and get anybody sick. So thank you again. I hope to see all of you in an upcoming monthly CincyAI, and thanks again.
Yeah, you can clap. We'll send Kathy our group photo and say thank you, because she very generously gave us, whoever wants to attend, $200 off. And I'm so proud that Macon and the Marketing AI Institute is in Ohio, in Cleveland. So when we say ecosystem, we're, all the surrounding states, but also a lot of love to Ohio. And at Macon, there's a group of us who are already going. So if you want to go too, let us know, and we can have a mini CincyAI meetup there, maybe breakfast or something.
Hi, everyone.
Oops, sorry. Okay, so 333, make a wish. We're going to go into another section. This is new because we're doing demos. So we're going to do 3 or 4 quick demos. I'll do mine if there's time. If not, that'll get bumped. And then we do have a few quick bites, which is what we normally do during this time. And that's just asking a community a question or sharing a AI tip or tool or what you're building. So with that, is Matthew here? I don't know if I saw Matt. Okay, come on up and give us a second to do all of our computer switching, because this is the first time that we're doing it this way. So give us a little grace.
Luck. Some say it's when preparation meets opportunity. Here, we call it foresight. Vision, it's our legacy. After 2 decades at the forefront of technology, we don't just look to the future, we shape it. Introducing Innovation Acceleration.ai, augmenting human creativity through structured methods of innovation and the latest in generative artificial intelligence. Spend more time selecting and refining the best solutions for your situation. Build your innovation pipeline with solutions based on the most successful patterns of creativity, steeped in academic research and real-world examples. Leverage top commercial large language models or your favorite open source. A suite of diverse tools and methods to help you learn, think, and act more effectively. Feed your ambitions, propel your ideas.
Thank you. So for those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, sorry, just want to pull this back up. My name is Matt Sias. We founded a startup called Innovation Acceleration in January, and we're located across the street in the UC Venture Lab. At 1819, right across the street. So 2 questions we're trying to answer. How do we use unexplainable models in a responsible manner? And how do we augment human creativity instead of replace it? So our approach combines what we call structured methods of innovation. In this instance, we're using one called systematic inventive thinking, or SIT. But it also has elements of design thinking, lateral parallel thinking, Genemployer model. So you could kind of look at this as conglomeration of structured methods combined with the parallel thinking exercise. So we framed a problem in retail background. We did the self-checkout kiosk, and particularly weighing produce. If anybody's ever had to use that, it's not the easiest process to go through. So going through this first tab, we use a series of small questions to prime the model. We call it a priming exercise. And we take that first small question: how might we build our closed world to innovate the process of adding produce items that must be weighed to a grocery order at a self-checkout kiosk? And through that, we prime the model, build out a small paragraph statement that we can carry forward. So there's a couple principles in systematic inventive thinking. The first one's called the closed world. And what this does, it helps us frame our thinking. So in brainstorming, there's an issue called cognitive overload. If you tell the brain to go in any direction, it typically gets overloaded and you're not sure where to start. So building in your guardrails, building in your closed world system is listing out all the elements and components, the tasks and the internal attributes that make up that system. So here we cap it off at 20, so not to overload the user. And at this point, every response in this process has the ability to edit and capture the human feedback. So adding context is critical. And that's how we build in that human element. We don't see the decision to the machine. Sorry. The next step is selecting the patterns. So when you saw in the video, there's 5 patterns that make up systematic inventive thinking. Attribute dependency is linking an internal and external attribute. Task unification is unifying two or more tasks in the process. Division, multiplication, subtraction. Depending on which task you use, you'll use a different list. You'll use a list of components, a list of tasks, or a list of attributes. At this point, you can go and systematically apply that pattern to every element in that list. So for example, we're going to use subtraction, and we're going to apply it to this list of components. Now what this does, we'll systematically go through and apply that. And it's going to pull from every discipline, every role that's in these models. So if you think about search engine optimization, change the way we search the internet. These models have fundamentally changed the way we stored this data. So we're going to have to change the way that we search them. By leveraging that diversity of thought built into them, you can actually build very innovative ideas from which to refine and then converge. So here, we're just going to go through this first part of the process and do an ideation. But the nice thing is this is model agnostic. So if you wanted to see what Claude had to say, you can always switch the model over to Claude. Oops. And regenerate your list. And you'll see it'll take on a different formatting as well. But the power of this is model agnostic, cloud agnostic. These prompts, these chains work across models. And these models, like they said, are converging on a common worldview, but they have all that diversity of thought built in. Every role, every industry, every discipline you can pull from within these queries. And fine-tuning is literally adding constraints that narrow its thought patterns. So with that, if you wanted to converge on an idea, You simply remove all the context you don't need. And we can start to visualize. So this is first going to build a story for that particular problem. And then you can call any one of a number of open source models or commercial to actually generate the prompt. Like I said, we're just going to go through the divergent exercise, but we also have the convergent exercise as well to refine an idea once you get it. So just a quick example of how we're trying to reshape the way we live, work, and learn by using these prompts to mine models agnostically.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you. And there's a Q&A or networking afterwards if you have any questions. I think that is yours. And then Chris Brock, come on down. I thought it would be kind of fun while we're doing the computer switch to have ChatGPT get involved with some AI jokes. So if you haven't done, I'll let you plug this in. If you need help, let me know. If you haven't used the app before, I think Greg mentioned it.
How can I assist you with your script or any other part of your project today?
Oh, that's a wrong thread. Okay. I'm working on a mini series. Okay, let's see if ChatGPT works. Okay, ChatGPT.
I'm here. What do you need help with?
Okay, the mic's not picking up the best. Can you tell us your best large language model joke that you can come up with?
Sure. Here's one for you. Why did the large language model go to therapy? Because it had too many unresolved text issues.
Okay, if you guys didn't hear that, I'll read the written one. Why did the large language model go to therapy? Because it had too many unresolved text issues.
So if you don't know me, my name is Christopher Brock. I run a company called Primary Hosting. I'm a Native American-owned business. I'm an enrolled citizen of the Pickwish Shawnee tribe. Over the last 20 months, generative AI has come out. I started a Facebook page called ChatGPT for Business and Life, and it's opened up a lot of really cool networks and opportunities. And one of them is what I'm going to share today. It's really cool. It's totally free. And if you're in the startup realm, like anyone starting up a business or thinking about it, hands up. This might be for you. This is a really slick system that's developed by the MIT Martin Trust School of Entrepreneurship. What they've developed is a technology solution based upon a couple different frameworks or books. One book is called Disciplined Entrepreneurship. This book is a tactical guide on how to start up a business, especially if you're trying to do a high growth tech startup. They have all types of great calls to action, obviously, on their website here. But this book really guides you through 24 steps that can be actionable in a way that you could build a business on. There's also a book called Startup Tactics. There's 15 steps in here that build a business plan for any person that wants to start up a company. The Startup Tactics is probably in its 5th printing. The Disciplined Entrepreneurship's in its 10th. What they were able to do at the MIT entrepreneurship program is develop something called Orbit. Orbit has now AI'd both of these books. So what you're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to use our QR code, sign up, totally free forever. There's like 5,000 people in the system, and we are one of the only institutions in the world outside of MIT that's able to offer this. So they've been really great. Shout out to Doug Williams and Paul Beyer and John Werner and everyone that's part of this program that's opened it up for us. What this allows you to do, I'm part of the Cincinnati AI Catalyst, so just I'm going to take a mission statement, but you can take your mission statement for your startup or your nonprofit, and you go into one of these locations, Disciplined Entrepreneurship or Startup Tactics, and you can just simply drop in your prompt and submit it. And once you do that, it updates to the system, and then you can play in both of the books. One has 24 steps. That's Disciplined Entrepreneurship. We'll go into that first. It has our prompt here. So you can go right into market segmentation. It's going to read that prompt, and it's going to think about it, and then it's going to provide a complete output on your market segmentation. It's very solid. It's built on a very good matrix based upon their books. And what's really cool about this is that for the AI Catalyst, It's saying, how do we get local businesses involved? How do we get educational institutions? How do we get healthcare providers, government agencies, tech startups? And it actually has this like really nice breakdown of everything on market segmentation for how the AI catalyst could go about driving change in their ecosystem. There's 24 steps in this one. Each one build upon each other. So as you would go through this, you can build out a full business model, and you could probably build it out in minutes or hours instead of days, weeks, and years. The other thing that's really cool, if you're not familiar with the information, there's videos that'll talk to you about what market segmentation is. It'll let you know what the matrix each step is built upon. And if you step back, you're able to see that we finished our market segmentation. We can go right into the next beachhead market. So as you walk through this, it will continue to develop out a business plan. There's a couple different areas that you can click on up here that allow you to do some edits, to be able to save it into Word documents. My suggestion is that if you go through this, you can change it into a Word document, upload that into a GPT about your business. Now you have a strategy agent that's really running on AI. So this is very early on in the AI space. You can see the Orbit program is down here in the very bottom, and their plan is to be the best ecosystem in the entire galaxy and have this escape velocity. And now here in Cincinnati in the Midwest, we can use this as well. So there's a great QR code. I'm sure it'll come out in like some newsletters, but if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to just sign up, register. It's totally free for life. Please utilize it. I think it's a great platform. We have a lot of different platforms that are really generous to us recently, and this MIT Orbit is definitely one. The other thing that I will announce is that we have this Anthropic credit for $25,000 for 100 different companies, $250 of API credits. We want people to have good ideas to fill this out to get those credits. I know the co-founder of Anthropic, and he was very gracious. We're the first region to have Anthropic credits like this outside of San Francisco or London or New York City. So thank you, everyone, for your time. If you have questions, please come find me afterward.
So my podcast, Creativity Squared, explores the intersection of AI and creativity. I'm actually interviewing Pete this Friday. It's going to be a really great, and I'm going to put on the timer for myself too, and keep myself accountable. So Pete's whole thing is about having brands optimized for the large language models. And I'm going to bring in another expert that actually works with television crews and media about how to lock down your content. So it's going to be a great conversation about whether to lock down, to have your content scraped or not scraped, and what to do with it for this new era of these large language models, like really impacting search. And I don't think anyone really knows the full implications of that. So my podcast, 10% of all of the revenue I make is dedicated to ArtsWave, Black and Brown artist program and grant. And I'm going to be interviewing this year's cohorts this weekend. There's 22 of them. And we're going to do another special series like I did last year. And I've got to go through it this way, which is a little awkward. So similarly to how the iPhone turned everyone into photographers, AI is democratizing creativity and giving us all superpowers. And part of these superpowers are clones. They are coming. I was featured in the Cincinnati magazine. We actually have another person here who's been cloned, Julie Bogart, if you want to raise your hand. But I'm technically the first person in Cincinnati who has a hyper-realistic avatar. Going to go through this way. And the digital avatar market is projected to be $270 billion by 2030. So this is like right now, there's probably less than 1,000 known custom hyper-realistic avatars like mine, but that's definitely going to change. Here is Reid Hoffman's AI version versus the real version. They're very indistinguishable. This is from Hour One, and their head of strategy was actually on my podcast too, to talk about this. And everyone already has an avatar. Pretty much if you've been online or gaming, you have some form of avatar. That's Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, they're all there. Even if you go into the Apple Store, there's a cartoony version of avatars there. So it makes sense that this is just a natural extension, that instead of the cartoony game-like one, so they get more hyper-realistic. Some benefits from the tech stack here. I only speak one language. My avatar speaks 28 languages. When I first got her, quote unquote her, she spoke 6 or 8. So as the tech improves, my avatar will automatically improve too. Am I always camera ready? No. Peter saw me this morning without any makeup. I was like, by this time I'll have makeup on. But my avatar is ready 24/7 to be on camera. Any type of production takes time or money. These avatars take minutes, and they end up with, at least the version that I have, under $15 per video. And we were both ethically made, which is very important in this day and age in light of deep fakes and all of that jazz. I lost my mouse. Okay. And this is the main slide I just wanted to share with you before my time is up. So, like, some people get really weirded out about avatars and being digitally cloned. I don't have an existential crisis with mine because I look at it as another tool in your communication toolbox. And when I think about building trust with my clients, really in person is one of the best ways to build trust. That's why we're here today. That's why community is so important. I see people shaking their heads. Like, you get the most trust in person. Second to that is video. And you think about Zoom calls and asynchronous communication, where if you're looking at someone, they're nodding their head in real time. Below that, I put video of humans to other humans. Think of maybe a nephew or a niece that sent you a video wishing you happy birthday. Like, that's touching. You have a great communication with that person. I think below that is actually the clone video. It looks like me. It sounds like me. It's the digital embodiment of me. And it's my voice and it's my message because I'm feeding it scripts. So it still can add trust into that communication toolbox, but in a much richer way than just audio, image, and text, which we all have and already use in our communication toolboxes too. They're super easy to use. Let's see if I can go down. There's a lot of different use cases. My clone makes appearances here all the time, but also in social. You can turn long form content into SEO content very easily. Online courses are great. In customer service, you're going to start seeing interactive chatbots with avatars on websites very soon. And they are effective, research shows. And the way that you make them is green screen, voice, approve, and then you get the clone. And you can literally make this video. I made the one that you saw earlier in less than 5 minutes earlier today. So it's just a couple steps of clicking your clone, clicking your AI voice, putting a script in there, selecting a background, and clicking send off. And you can get video in 5 minutes or less. So it's super easy. And I'm at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So that wraps up my portion of the demo. Thank you. Okay, now, yes, Greg is going to show us some prompts, which I'm very excited about. There you go. And I'll continue with my bad AI jokes.
I'm gonna move slow so maybe we get 2 jokes.
I actually named my clone. So this is a thing. If you decide to get digitally cloned, which I think in 5 years we might all have our digital clones, they might actually be in our Zoom meetings interacting with us, according to the CEO of Zoom. But some people have to decide: do you name your clone? Do you not? Summer Crenshaw, who heads up ETA and was one of the main forces. Oh, there she is in the back, behind CincyAI Week. Her clone is named Summer. Mine's Helen 2.odd, and I named it that way because you're never going to be better than the original. And she's a little odd. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. My name is Greg. I work at a company called Eureka Ranch right here in Cincinnati. We're on the east side. And I'm a statistician and a web developer. So now I work in AI because that's what everybody does. So I have a little bit of a problem when it comes to the typical interface of these large language models. Doesn't matter which one you use. So it works like this: there's a big sort of screen, and you send a message, and you expect the AI to be all-knowing and give you the correct answer back, right? And then we get the answer back, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Usually it's better than average. It's never quite as good as we want it, and we end up just, well, maybe we need a better prompt. Maybe we need to give it this information. Maybe we need to give it that. And I'm like, wait a minute, my job isn't, if I'm trying to work on something, I want to work on what I'm working on. I don't want to work on trying to get the computer to do what I want it to do. That's like me explaining my job to an intern. It's just frustrating. I'd rather just do it myself. So my idea is, what if we flip the script? What if I take the large language model and I say, you're the role of the coach, like you're not going to do the work. And I want the user to be the one thinking. And I want the user to be the one reacting. I want the user to be the one writing. So in my example, I chose marketing messages because last month we had a lot of marketing people here. So figured that's a good example. So let's say I'm trying to sell my tool here. So what I would do is, hopefully this is sort of big enough, but I just, the coach here just says, hey, tell me about your idea, tell me about your product. And I can start with a really bad version or good, doesn't really matter. But I'll just tell it that I'm working on this tool. Should probably check that I'm connected to the internet. If not, we'll find out here in a minute. But anyway, the idea is that the coach, I'm probably not connected. So what's going to happen here in a minute, of a spoiler alert, it's going to just write the marketing message for me, right? Just like any of the other large language models would do. It's like, Greg, here's your pitch. Here's how you sell your idea. But that's not what I actually want. What I want it to do is be like, okay, now teach me how to write a marketing message. Teach me how to communicate this message better. So what I have it do here is, after it gives me this long message that I'm not ever going to use, and I'll probably just criticize it, it says, okay, Greg, the real problem that you're addressing with this idea is, and it gives me these three options here. One's super close in and safe, and the other one's a little bit of a stretch if I want to be really bold with my marketing. So I just sort of say this one's right and click here, edit it like I would do. And then of course, you send the message back. So the idea is, every single time that you give it more information about your idea, it rewrites your message, and then it prompts you with another question and helps you write the next one. And this process goes over and over and over again. Each time it writes the idea, it gets not better, not more persuasive, but it gets more truthful. And of course, I like diagnostics, so I can measure this because I'm a statistician. I want to make sure it's getting better. But that's pretty much the idea. The main thing is to change the way we're interacting with AI and make sure the user owns the content. So after they go through this 20 more times, they feel like that idea they wrote is theirs, or that message, something they'd actually say to somebody. And that's pretty much one of my ideas. So thanks for letting me share. Let me know if you're working on something similar or have ideas to help make that better. Really appreciate it. Nice meeting everybody.
So that concludes our demos. Another round of applause for all of the brave people who got up. Thank you. And thank you for working with us as we do that. And we do have a few quick bites. Bill, is Bill here to come on down? Okay. He's on the phone. Come on down, Bill. No one wants to hear any more of my AI jokes. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's side entertainment. There you go.
Thank you, Helen. I'm Bill Jansen from MetalQuest. We're located in Cincinnati. We're a Cincinnati-based company. We're 25 years old this past May. But basically, we work in healthcare, and I'm a trustee for 50 closed hospitals, and also I'm a trustee for other clinics and so on and so forth. And in that capacity, I retain the legal ownership of all the health data. And one of the things we're doing in AI is we're actually selling de-identified health data to startups. We also sell it to, like medical equipment manufacturers for validation. So we're looking for, and we're giving the opportunity for CincyAI companies to purchase this data. You can come and get the data curated for your needs. So we're happy to help with anyone who's doing AI work in the healthcare field. But we also have other kinds of data. It could be human resource data, could be payroll data, could be medical billing data. So all those things are available directly in Cincinnati. It's all real world data. It's not synthetic data. On top of that, we have a network we've been building out. We call it our MQ Data Partner Network. And these are hospitals all over the country, primarily critical access hospitals, community hospitals that feed us data so that they can use the power of AI to create precision health, individual healthcare plans, population health, so they can determine, like, hey, we have a COVID outbreak, or we have
why do we have this instance of cancer happening in our community? So those are things we can provide data for. The next thing I want to tell you about is we're actually building out what we call the GPU lab. And the GPU lab is our project name. And what that consists of is in our data center, we're adding high performance computing systems that will allow startup AIs that can't go to, say, a Lambda Labs and pay $27,000 for 2 weeks of use, or AWS or Google. They can come to us, they can build models on different types of systems and test them. So if you wanted to build a model on an A4 NVIDIA system versus an H100 system, you could do that. And why that's important is today what we're seeing is that there's a lot of edge case computing needs. So you might be building like on-premise AI systems that run on lower powered machines. But we're also building, we have a 10-node system that runs on A100 NVIDIA cards, which are the same cards running like OpenAI. So we're hoping to repurpose that, which would give the Cincinnati community a real, a real step up. It's a very powerful system. It has like 1.4 petabytes of storage. It's all 100% solid state. So we're going to make that available to the Cincinnati AI community. But this week we're installing our first servers that we've repurposed, and it will be available probably within a week, 2 weeks, for anyone who wants to use it. See me, get signed up, and you can use it remotely. We're also building out a whole AI kind of tech hub that if you need space, we have space for you. So come see us.
Thank you, Bill. And Tracy, come on down. And Tracy is one of our wonderful sponsors through the circuit too. So much appreciation.
Happy to be able to do that. So I don't know about you guys, but my brains are about to explode after all that information today. So hang on, only a few more things, and then you can go talk to all these smart people and learn more. They alluded to what we're doing at the circuit earlier. We are very proud and excited to be able to be giving back to the Cincinnati community and have some partners who've come alongside us to donate over $100,000 worth of licensing, compute, and services to build out a use case for a greater Cincinnati area business. We are accepting your submissions for your use case at thecircuit.net. We'll be accepting those through the 28th of July, and our plan is to announce hopefully some very worthy winners at the September 12th Best of Tech Awards. So get those submissions in early, and we look forward to seeing some great ideas from everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And Carl, come on down. So I'm super excited to have Carl back up with us. He announced the Cincinnati AI Catalyst Blueprint at CincyAI Week and is going to give us an update of all things AI Week and the Blueprint.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'll try to go really quick here. So first of all, people who were on the host committee for CincyAI Week, could you please stand up? Everybody, please give them a big round of applause. So thank you very much. Summer, it was 1,400 individual attendees across the 3 days, correct? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Wow. So yeah. So I think it ended up being 1,400 attendees in total across 3 days. You can see speaker sessions, a huge host committee, Enterprise Technology Association, specifically Summer and Zach. Amazing job. Thank you so much. Please give them a round of applause. Just great support from sponsors. And if you didn't know this, the CincyAI Week for 2025 is already scheduled. It's effectively exactly the same week in June as this year. And so, just fantastic. The summarization, I'm really effectively just going to say, if you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. because there's just an incredible amount of editorial from people who attended. And I think that's the most important way to really understand how much people got out of this event. But we're really excited about the fact that we've established a beachhead here. The Enterprise Technology Association has already scheduled Columbus AI Week. There's a lot of other ones that are coming. And so, this is just really a great, what's really great about this for the Cincinnati AI ecosystem is, we really are establishing the standards for the Midwest. We're really role modeling a lot of things. And speaking of role modeling, one of the things we did at CincyAI Week of significance was we released the Cincinnati AI region blueprint. And I just wanted to talk about that here for a quick second. Using methodologies that really were kind of similar to some of the methodologies that folks talked about here today, especially kind of shockingly very similar process to what Chris talked about with Orbit. I put together a bunch of research for what are called AI hub regions and established an outcome for that, which is that the best AI hub regions have commonality of 6 key elements. And those key elements include academic institution enhancement, business community development, government support, infrastructure improvement, talent pool expansion, and networking and collaboration. And so what we're in the process of doing, specifically as an ecosystem, but with the Cincinnati AI Catalyst catalyzing, in other words, taking the lead to drive these activations, is we're activating those 6 key elements. And what will happen within each of those key elements over the coming months is that we will then be activating swim lanes. And swim lanes are specific areas of ownership that do have and or will have specific metrics. And so, this is not just talk radio. This is something very intentional, has very intentional metrics that are associated with it, because this is all about having a vision, and the Cincinnati region being among the top AI regions in the United States, a global model of prosperity and knowledge where artificial intelligence enhances every life, expands every opportunity, and shapes a future built on human-centered, inclusive, responsible AI and responsible innovation. So this is not just for fun. This is not just to feel good. This is to deliver prosperity and an advantage for the 2.3 million people who live in the 8 counties in the Cincinnati region. So for those of you who are new, this is serious business. And the folks that are focusing on this, which, by the way, includes anyone in this community that wants to be part of it as an ecosystem to deliver these things. And we're talking about making dramatic improvement over the 3-year period that starts with 2024 against these metrics. Okay? So that's kind of the update on CincyAI Week, talking about the blueprint. For those of you who didn't know this, the Cincinnati AI Catalyst has a company page on LinkedIn. And so we post pretty much every other day. And what we're posting is information like what's going on with podcasts that's really relevant to our journey here. The blueprint itself is pinned in that LinkedIn page, so you can go and learn more about that. That's, again, Cincinnati AI Catalyst company page. And then, so when I talk about activating these key elements, okay, think about your local government. If you live in a township, if you live in a municipality, if you live in an unincorporated area, no matter where you live, you have government. And within that government, there's an administrator and there's somebody who's responsible for IT. Okay? Raise your hand if you think that your local government administrator and your local person in your local government who's responsible for IT, that they're all over AI. Raise your hand if you have that confidence. 0. Okay? So what we're doing is we are organizing a symposium specifically targeted for those two positions in every government organization in the 8 counties. Okay? 1819 has been incredibly gracious. They are going to provide us with a day of their biggest room. And this is a by invitation only event. So we're inviting those two positions from every organization that governs in the 8 counties. And we're inviting those two people to come to a symposium that's focused on preparing those leaders to establish an AI readiness and transition strategy for their organizations. So this is having them come for free, spending a day for them, making sure that they're being educated on what is going on with AI, the fact that the time is urgently now, and letting them know that they have a community, an ecosystem of friends who are here to help them, to guide them, to get ahead of the curve so that when the things that are going to hit them are hitting them in a way that they're proactively prepared for versus just getting run over by. Okay? So that's going to happen on the 14th of August, the second Wednesday of August. Here's my ask. My ask is if you know who these people are in your community, please send me a LinkedIn message. Carl Frake. I'm the only Carl Frake on LinkedIn. Okay, F-R-A-I-K. I would really appreciate if you know anybody who's either the administrator or a person responsible for IT in any government organization in the 8 counties, please send me those names, ASAP. And then to wrap up, we have started the Cincinnati AI Builders Forum, and this is a peer-led, peer-supported technology group. And this is for people who are actually building AI systems. It's a private group that you come in by invitation just so that we can control, making sure that it's people who are working and living in the 8-county Cincinnati region. And actually, we also welcome people from Dayton to be part of this. But it's so that people, for free, again, can coach each other around specific problem-solving problems that they're experiencing related to building their AI systems. And it's the third Tuesday of the month. And so our next call will be next Tuesday at 6 p.m. So again, you can contact me on LinkedIn message if you'd like to become part of that group. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. And I saw Rob, so come on down, Rob. One thing, or two things I really love about what Carl said is one, I've mentioned this before, the Amy Webb 2024 South by Southwest keynote watch. One of her recommendations for this, she calls everyone in this time, we're Generation T. If you're alive, and I see a young person here today, which is so good to see, you are just as much about Generation T as the rest of us. And one of her recommendations is for governments to set up what Carl is doing here locally in Cincinnati for a transition. And then locally at my own local government, the biggest fear that from someone was like that small local governments will be left out. So really applaud what Carl's doing with the Catalyst. Okay, and then Rob.
Yeah, thank you so much. And but first of all, it's CincyAI Week was amazing. First of all, give it up for Carl, John, and everybody else, the enterprise team who did that. It was amazing. I think we build by actually growing together. So, MidwestCon is in its 3rd year. And if you don't know a little bit about my background, just because I've lived many lives, but policy and education has been a big part of my background. Having formerly ran for office, I ran for treasurer of the state of Ohio. The good news is I thought I needed about 1.8 million votes. I got over 2 million. Bad news, I still lost. So, but I learned a lot. And really, one of the focuses and the focus overall of MidwestCon is really about the intersection of policy, innovation, and social impact, right? And I think that's where I uniquely live. And I think that's where we can uniquely kind of set our sights as a region. So We are doing some similar things to what Carl has mentioned, and I've been working for a few years around that. And so our goal here will be to make sure that government is not only thinking about how to implement technology, but do so in a way, because I think we hear the term everybody uses responsible AI, and I'm glad they are. But I kind of think about it in a way when people think about it, they say it, some say it in a way, in the same way people talked about like diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's like it's the thing to say, but it has to have actual measurables and meaning tied to it. So to me, it's about making sure it's ethical, transparent, and accessible. If it's not all those things, then it really hasn't met responsible. So we are going to make sure that we talk about digital privacy, safety, security, making sure that it's accessible. And the technology, everybody can use it, but just because everybody can use it doesn't mean it's actually accessible. So we have to be really intentional about making sure that's happening. Because if we're honest, lots of ecosystems are going to build out AI, and we're not going to catch up with San Francisco in terms of where they are with advancement in AI. But it's not as sexy for many others to actually look at what responsible AI is in a real intentional way that's actually inclusive, that's actually measuring real problems, because artificial intelligence is not the problem. It's just exacerbating or recreating problems that we already have in society, right? It's already recreating biases that we have in society. It's already recreating inequities in society. So if you don't come with that intentional lens from multiple perspectives, you can have all the greatest intentions in the world, but then still exacerbate the same problems. So MidwestCon is really about looking at technology in that way. And so as we meet with local governments, as we meet with organizations, when we talk about responsible AI, coming from that lens gives us a lot of power to actually differentiate ourselves from other regions as they do it. So we're working with Carl and others, and we want to work with everybody in this room. We definitely want to see us build the same type of momentum. We have some different type of speakers that are focused in that area. One speaker that really kind of speaks to me, I know we had a really great women's breakfast, and Noelle Silver, if you don't know who she is, she's one of the original people that actually created a lot of the AI technology that's within Microsoft right now, years and years ago. And guess what? She's an example of talking about what it means to have responsible AI. So she said that and spoke up during her time at Microsoft. Her reward was to get fired. See, real actually talk about holding people accountable and responsible is tough. And there will be a rush to want to implement this technology without any guardrails, because that's what's going on now. Our goal is to say, yes, implement the technology because we can't get left behind, but do so in a way that is responsible, meaning it's transparent, it's ethical, and it's accessible. Doing that will be able to really differentiate us as a region and talk about how we define that standard. And we're really specific about it. So anybody here that really has, if that's your interest from any type of way of looking at ways we could be more equitable, accessibility, ways that we can have transparent, which means what Matt talked about, having artistic intelligence is like how we define it, which we're trademarking that, is the process of actually making sure that humans are involved in the process. And then having policy innovation, policy that, yes, we do have policy that sets up guardrails, but also in a way that provides enough flexibility for us to have innovation. But to do that, we have to educate our policymakers and others. And we don't expect them to be advanced, but most don't even have, as Carl indicated, we got the CIOs and others, but also the ones that actually set the policy. Like they, and this is a generalization, but it's generally true, have very little clue about any of it. It would be like talking to them about a foreign concept in a foreign language. And we have to get them to the point where there's integration and collaboration. So we need volunteers. We hope to have volunteers. Please join us. We can have a really impact in our region to continue to build. MidwestCon.live. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for ambassadors and support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, and that concludes this month's demos and speakers. This is the first time we've done this format, so feel free to leave us feedback if you like it, if you want to see more demos, or if you want to see something else in the programming. Okay, we have 6 minutes. before we do our photo, these are the same things that Chris Brock mentioned. So this is the MIT Orbit program, which everyone can sign up for. Really, the Anthropic API credits are more for builders. Is that correct? So all the builders who raised your hands, that is there. There's only 100 of those for the entire region. So do grab one of those. It's a form that you fill out, and then you're selected to do that. And if you don't get it right today, it will be in the newsletter, and the recap will come out this Saturday or Sunday, CincyAI week. Our next meeting is Tuesday, August 6th. And then Matt, who did the presentation, will start us off doing a session on prompting. And there's a QR code for our LinkedIn group. Now, for 5 minutes, we might only get to do one. I don't know if anyone found this, but if there's any burning questions, we can go back to Slido and ask a question. But are there any hands raised? We covered a lot today, so I'm sure there's a lot of questions, and we'll have time for networking afterwards. But does anyone have any burning questions for anyone who spoke, or just open up to the room before we do our photo? And this is for the, yes, go ahead. Or you can just yell it out. I can repeat it. Yep.
Hi, my name is Lauren Bartosic. This is my first, that's very fun. This is my first time, so I'm really intrigued by this group, and I think it's serendipitous who speaks at things that you show up at sometimes. It was really interesting to me. So I work at the Health Collaborative. Health Collaborative, does anyone know the Health Collaborative? Yes. Hey, good. Okay, well then I don't know you, which is problematic. So we are a regional hospital council. All the major hospital systems are our members. We're a regional health improvement collaborative. We used to be a health information exchange, but we're not anymore. And so I'm really curious about the intersection of your work and health equity, particularly as we were talking about like advancing our region. That is our biggest mission too, is to advance the health and health equity of our region, particularly the 26-year life expectancy difference across 4 miles in the city of Cincinnati. So not really a question, more just like a shout out that this is really intriguing for me. I think it's very scary for our CIOs and CMIOs in healthcare to think about what that means, particularly with like selling de-identified data. People are like, wait, what? Please don't do that. But like, so I'm just open to any feedback. I didn't stay too long in networking, but hopefully I'll meet you all again. And I think if you have ideas for like what we can do in health guards, if you know us, I'd love to know.
Okay, we already have a connection. Thank you so much for signing up for your first one. So this was on health equity. And I don't think Dino is here, or Dr. Kelly, but they would be good ones to connect you with because they're using mammogram, Genexia, yes, a mammogram to actually the data in that to help women find heart disease because I guess that's one of the leading things that kill women. But anyone else who has any thoughts on this, on health equity, that wants to share with the community for our one question today? No. Okay. Well, we will connect you guys together and also connect you with Dino and Dr. Kelly Cohen because what they're doing at Genexia is really great. Oh, Dr. Kelly Cohen, there you are. Come on down. Jesus. Give us your 2 cents on health equity, and then we'll move to our group photo. And we mentioned a lot about responsible AI. This is like one of the pillars in the community of responsible AI who's been leading research on this for 20, 30 years on fuzzy logic. And he's our organizing partner.
Thank you very much, and thank you for visiting us here at Digital Futures, University of Cincinnati. We are very proud to host together with Kendra and Helen this CincyAI for Humans on a monthly basis, and lovely to see the numbers here grow. What was the question?
on health equity and how you're approaching it at Genexia, or just health to AI and health equity.
So, we see the trends. You want developments with health, the costs go up. So what we try to do is can we capture, using AI, information which is already present in another test and utilize that in a way as to bring about a change. So the science tells us that in a mammogram, there is information about cardiovascular health. It's in the breast arterial calcification, which then correlates using angiograms to cardiovascular risk. Now, we've got access to a database of 2,000 patients, which usually women don't do mammograms and angiograms together. But in this case, the data is available, and with the assistance of a cardiologist and radiologist from Case Western, we can now provide a good annotated training set for our supervised learning, and which does not use Gen AI, the old-fashioned way, but it is something which is explainable for a data set of 2,000 images. It's about 300,000 images based on 2,000 patients, because of some of the tests have got multiple images associated with it. But the idea is, for another $30 that would cost the insurance company, we can now provide, with this capability, a measure for cardiovascular risk based on the same mammogram. Now, what does that do? Today, 500,000 women die every year from heart attack. I had a heart attack in 2018. I was in Orlando on an excursion. It was a UC event. I started sweating profusely. My wife, against my so-called better judgment, called 911. I was rushed to hospital. I made a big joke out of it until the pain just hit up. The chances of survival from a widowmaker is about 11% if you catch it outside of a hospital. So I'm with my wife. I helped me with my statistic. I'm alive today, so I want to give back. And part of the way of giving back, we feel, based on what Dr. Esselstein says in Cleveland Clinic, nobody needs to die of a heart attack. So we may not cut down that number of 500,000 to zero, but we can definitely, with inventions such as ours, cut down that number by half. And the way to go about it is to raise that awareness. Once you are aware that there is a problem, then you can look at your genetic markers, diet, exercise, take a statin, be a little more involved in your health, and that's it. It does not take that much. Unlike cancer, unlike some other diseases, which are sometimes, unfortunately, irreversible, heart disease can be controlled if you just get to know it. So what we're trying to do is to bring this added value using AI and to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that concludes today's meetup. Prior to our photo, which don't be a stray cat, get up and make your way over here. And thank you for spending some time with us today, and enjoy the food and networking afterwards.